Hello, everyone. Hello, worldwide. Hello, Facebook. Hello, LinkedIn. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Tom Hanks. Haven't said hello to Tom Hanks in a while. He's yet to tune in. If anybody knows him, somebody give him a shout out. But you have stumbled into Kari's Corner, and I am so happy that you are here today. I am excited that you're here. We have a special guest that I'm going to be bringing on shortly. And I'm super excited about our special guest today. He is near and dear to the worldwide heart. So I can't wait for you guys to meet him. He's someone who has been in your shoes, which is always really exciting to actually talk to someone who's been there, who has been through the process. So very excited about that. But before we get to that, I do have, there's Arlene. Jamaica's in the house this morning. Good morning, Arlene. I do have a couple of announcements before we get started. Wednesday, May 22nd, that is next Wednesday, we have Get to Know Your Direct Hire Contract, and that is with the one and only Ron Hoppy. He will be presenting that webinar on Wednesday, May 22nd. So make sure you are following us on all of our social media accounts so that you can watch Ron Hoppy as he walks you through that. For the month of May, we are honored to celebrate Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. That is still a mouthful, but we are honored to celebrate that. We recognize the contributions and the culture of the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities and how vital they are to the United States, to everything that you guys are bringing and enhancing our culture. I am a firm believer. I love the Asian American, just the Pacific Islander culture. It's such a welcoming and beautiful culture. I'm so thankful that I've been able to experience it firsthand and see all of those things. And it's just such a beautiful culture. So keep bringing that culture to the United States because it's amazing. I absolutely love it. Congratulations to the winner of our Nurses Week Instagram contest last week. That's Nurse Esther, who won $200. Yay for Nurse Esther. Congratulations to you. Keep following us on Instagram and all of our social media accounts. I'm not saying we give away $200 every week, but you never know. You never know when a giveaway is just going to pop up. So make sure you're following us on all of those things. And then I have one more announcement that may not be as wonderful. But the state of Maryland has announced, so if anyone's looking at the state of Maryland or if you've accepted a job offer with the state of Maryland, they have announced that actually as of April, they have gone back to only accepting the IELTS and the TOEFL. They were accepting PTE, OET, and MET as part of kind of that pandemic time period when we were really just trying to get nurses over here. So Maryland is now back to accepting only IELTS and TOEFL. So our licensure team is working on what does that mean for you if you are currently in process and you have taken PTE or OET or MET and you're headed to the state of Maryland. We're working on what that looks like. I do know I have reached out to my contacts with OET and PTE, and I do know that they are both I'm sure the MET is as well, working very hard to get legislation pushed through the Maryland Board of Nursing to adopt and accept all of the tests as they did during that emergency pandemic time period. So if you have questions about how this is going to impact you and you're currently in process with Worldwide, or even if you're not in process with Worldwide and you've accepted an offer in Maryland, please make sure you reach out to your case manager so that we're already aware on our end, but just so you can start that dialogue of what does this mean for me? Do I need to start prepping for an IELTS or a TOEFL? Remember, it's just IELTS and TOEFL. I know a lot of people, I know a lot of my South Koreans, whom I love my South Koreans as well, but I know a lot of you guys take the TOEIC, and Maryland is now only accepting IELTS and TOEFL for licensure purposes for foreign educated nurses. So we are doing our best at Worldwide to reach out to all the necessary contacts in that regard. And so are the testing agencies. They are doing their best to get their tests added to the approved list for Maryland. So not a great announcement to start the day, but that's okay. That's okay, because I am excited to bring on CJ. CJ is with our marketing team here at Worldwide, but he has the coolest story, and I feel so bad for him because anytime a guest comes into the office, they always put CJ on the spot and say, CJ, tell your story. It's so cool because you work for Worldwide and you are the spouse of a Worldwide nurse. So CJ has been through the process on the spouse's side of immigration and being a Worldwide nurse. So CJ is joining from his car. Hi, CJ.
Hello, Kari. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. Oh,
CJ's joining from his car because his wife is a nurse with Worldwide and she had a meeting this morning.
oh yeah. I just received a message this morning that they'll have a meeting, like it's extended hours. So I just decided to, just do the webinar inside the car while waiting for my wife. This is like uh, a live testimonial of the life of a nurse and the life of a husband of a nurse here in the United States.
That's exactly right. So, CJ, you got your license pretty quickly upon arrival in the US, correct?
Is that driver's license?
Driver's license,
Oh
yes.
yeah, oh yeah. So I already have my non-professional driver's license in the Philippines. So I showed that in the DMV office, and they allowed me to drive for like a month,
Mhm.
and then I took all the examinations, road test, road signs, and the written test, and that's it. And I got my license right away.
Now, what about your wife?
My wife, so right now we're like 2 years and 5 months here in the United States, and I've been like driving her to work and picking her up to work from work. So that's the like routine for the first years that we're here in the United States. But just recently she got her license like 2 days ago, and she will start driving, and that's really, I'm so happy for that you know i I will just um wake up early, to pick her up, and now she's gonna drive. That's a big relief from my side, because it's really a necessity here in the United States to drive. So if if you are um if you have plans to move here in the United States, also start your driving lessons, because it's really important, or it's a necessity.
And it's
you know
hard on the spouse. Fortunately, you have a job, obviously, with
uh
Worldwide, but
yeah.
you have a job that allows you to
Oh
like
yeah.
accommodate her nursing schedule. Not
Uh-huh.
everybody is that fortunate. So, how important do you think it is for both people to have their driver's license?
It's really important. I mean, you can't really move well if you don't have a driver's license. Like, if you want to go to your workplace, for example, we are both working. So if for emergencies like this, if for example, she will receive a call that she needs to go to the office, as a husband that who's only driving, I need to talk to my company and tell them about the situation, and to adjust for my wife. And luckily, Worldwide allows me with that. They are so flexible, and I'm thankful for that.
Mhm.
But if you're coming here in the United States, you really need to drive. It's like one of the necessity and
It's
important things.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, unless like you're in a major like New York City,
Mm.
or like a big major city with lots of public transportation, maybe not so much, but I know where, especially where we are, I mean, kids get their driver's license at the age of 16 and they start driving. It's not a question of do you have a driver's license? I mean, it's just kind of assumed if you're a 16-year-old kid, you're getting your driver's license.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So let's talk a little bit and get into, and if you guys are watching, if you have questions for CJ, if you have questions for me, CJ has been through the entire immigration journey So any questions specifically about any of the immigration journey? CJ's a pro. So tell me a little bit. Your wife is with Encompass Health, correct?
Yes, correct.
And she is what type of nurse? What kind of work does she do with Encompass?
I believe she's a rehab nurse.
I believe she's a rehab nurse. I'm not quite sure what my
Uh,
spouse does all day, but I
yeah,
know
she's
she's
a
a
re.
nurse. I had
I'm
to,
just joking.
no, CJ and I were talking
Uh,
before when he said a rehab nurse. In the United States, we call rehab can be kind of two very different things. Rehab can be for people who are suffering from drug or alcohol addictions, and they go to, in the US, we call it short, we just call it rehab. So when he said his wife's a rehab nurse, I was like, oh, so she's helping people with drug and alcohol addictions. And he was like, no, 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 no. So she works specifically with people who are recovering from surgery, correct?
yes, that is correct.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So tell me a little bit about how you guys found Worldwide, why you chose Worldwide. How did that journey start for you? And you as a spouse, were you on board to move to the United States or were you hesitant? How did you feel?
Okay, so she started her journey last 2019, and a bit about of the journey. There are so many. She told me there are so many agencies during that time, but Worldwide HealthStaff has the best offer, and also they said that there is an available like facility here in North Carolina. I mean near North Carolina, because she requested to be in like this state because her mom is living here in North Carolina during that time and until now. Uh,
Mhm.
and they said she will be assigned in North Carolina, and I think that that is the biggest factor why she chose Worldwide Health Staff. And her application happened during the pandemic, so it was not really easy.
Mhm.
Um, the, the English examination facilities or centers have been shut down because of
Mhm.
COVID-19, and also it's really hard to move, like also companies that you need to process your papers. It's full of delays because of shortage of people that's working. Those factors happen. So it took her a total of
Mhm.
2 years like process before we arrived here in the United States. But overall, like from Worldwide side, it was really smooth. Like if if we didn't have the pandemic, maybe it only took us like within a year. Within a year, we're already here in the United States. But maybe
Wow.
that's really how it is. That's yeah, that's our destiny. But 2 years, that 2 years,
Mhm.
it's like nothing. I mean, waiting for 2 years, well, like compared to already working here in the US, it's really dream come true that working here in the US. Because for example, just an example, like true story, if you're working like 2 years in Middle East, like if the savings that you will earn compared working here in the United States, I'll say the savings in 2 years in the Middle East, you will earn that here in the United States in, um, I'm not exaggerating, maybe 2 to 4 months. 2 to 4
Wow.
months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, you were cutting in and out a little bit. So I think you were saying that you were comparing like the savings that you could earn working as
Yeah.
a nurse in the Middle East versus the savings you can earn working as a
Yeah.
nurse here in the United States. Because I know
Yeah.
some people take that path. They're like, well, I'm going to go to the Middle East and I'm going to work and save money and then I'll go to the United States.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
How did you
So,
feel as a spouse when your wife was like, I want to work as a nurse in the United States? How did you feel?
okay. So, with that experience, when she told me about that, I was in the Philippines because she worked in Oman for 10 years. She told me
Mhm.
that she has a plan to work in the United States, and I was working like a web developer in the Philippines, but I was working from home. So I have clients in, different parts of the world, like United States and Singapore, just like that. And I told her that um, maybe it's not best for me, for me as a spouse to to be in the United States, because I was thinking that I'll have problems when it comes to looking for work,
Mm-hmm.
because my experience was like it's not office based. I was like a freelancer
Mm-hmm.
during that time, so I was really hesitating.
Mm-hmm.
But we that's my wife, so we need to, as a spouse, you need to support your partner. And if if the dream is bigger, which one is bigger, then just support which one is, you'll see that will grow together, and will, build together, and build a family. And also, us, it's a dream. They said it's the ultimate American dream. So I just agreed.
That is,
Like, yeah, after a long time, maybe 3 months of arguing, and I just gave up and said, okay, I'll support you. Let's go to the United States, and let's build let's build our future in the United States.
I love that. I love that. Did you hear that, husbands out there and spouses? Support your spouse. Do it.
Oh yeah,
um, so, how did you find a job in the United States? Did you start looking before you came? Did you start looking upon arrival? I mean, I know, yes, it wasn't like you just reached out to Worldwide and you were like, "Hey, you're hiring my nurse. Will you hire me too?" It was a pretty coincidental situation that you actually ended up working for Worldwide. So,
hmm
how did you find this job?
Okay. Um, so this, like, true story about this one. I was like a recruiter from California, reached out to me in LinkedIn, and they said they are looking for this specific position in a company in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they said they need, like, I am qualified. So if I can send my resume to send them over to the company, and
Hmm.
then I asked which company, and we were surprised. They said it's Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions, and then we were so happy that, wow, is this destiny that I'll have the chance to interview for a job with the same company, or your direct hire recruiter. So yeah, I really let's say I really prepared myself during
Hmm.
for that interview. And
Hmm.
yeah, luckily I got hired by the company. But prior to that, like I told you a while ago, that's one of my fear, to get a job in the United States. That's why I decided before I was really hesitant to move with her in the United States. But now, with my experience right now, I can say to all spouses there, husbands and wives, that if you have a nurse spouse, just support them. And there are a lot of jobs here in the United States. There are a lot of jobs. If you're not picky, like, after a week of your arrival, you can start working already. And also, a true story, we have a friend, we referred that friend, my wife's friend, in Worldwide Health Staff Solutions, and they arrived last year. And the wife, the friend that she referred, also working in the same facility with my wife. And
Hmm.
her husband is now working with the same facility as a nurse aide. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, and to tell you, yeah, he doesn't have any experience.
Huh.
Yeah, he doesn't have any experience in in nursing aid or anything about nursing. He is a um, police something, a graduate in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is. So there is. I mean, I know a lot of times healthcare workers will be married to other healthcare workers, and it's just the licensing. And I know the
Yeah.
cost of taking the NCLEX prevents a lot of both spouses taking the NCLEX. Like
Mm.
one of them has to take it. But once you get over to the United States, like you said, we have so many. It's just that the nurse aid process takes so
Uh-huh.
long, but we have a lot of nurse aid positions actually open in the United States. So, like you said, once you arrive, you're here for a week, you can easily apply for one
Oh
of
yeah.
those jobs.
Oh yeah. For real.
And
Yeah.
yeah. So, talk to me about kind of the English language, right? What did you
Hmm.
guys do to prepare to speak English every day? And then, how important would you and your wife say conversational English is to surviving in the United States?
English is our second language, so we are like familiar with all of the the basic stuff, basic yeah stuff when it comes to English, but preparing for the English language test, that's a different, like a step, like a little 10 level higher than basic English.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife, um she she watched English movies. That's one of the things that she did. And also she
Hmm.
had trainings online
Hmm.
trainings, because
Hmm.
during her time they had COVID. We had COVID.
Hmm.
So, like, virtual meetings, virtual trainings, one on one. And she also printed out a lot of papers. I mean, with practice papers, just like
Hmm.
that. And when it comes to conversational skills, we also both practice, speaking in English. Like, there are times that we are talking, like we are having conversations inside the house while we were waiting for the embassy interview. Like,
Hmm.
we were both laughing, because we are not really a native English speakers, but we were trying to speak in English, because we're gonna move soon in the United States. So you need to practice and practice. And one tip, you don't need to be like, when in speaking in English, you don't need to be really uh, grammar, like specific in grammar. You just need to express yourself. You know, like in the Philippines, like we are really shy speaking in English, because we always like look for mistakes for our, like, when we are having a conversation with each other. Like, oh, that's a wrong
Hmm.
grammar. Oh, you should use R instead of is, something like that. So
Hmm.
that's the mentality that we had. Once but when we arrive here in the United States, I'll say, just don't be shy, just express yourself. Like, grammar is not really important, but taking the English examination test, that is important. That's different. That's what I'm saying. That's different. So for the English test, you need to be, systematic. You need to be like, uh, follow all the rules. Follow all the rules. And she also had like a smooth English test journey.
Hmm.
And
Which English
but
tests did you two take?
she took IELTS.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the most famous in the Philippines. Yeah.
Right.
So uh-huh.
Which one did you take?
I didn't take any.
Oh, I thought for some
Yeah.
reason I thought you took one.
No.
That's right. Spouse does not have to take one, but she took
Yeah.
IELTS. Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. I love that
She
you
took
pointed that
IELTS.
out. It's so
Uh-huh.
true. I know that in a lot of other countries, you're more hesitant. You arrive and you're very hesitant um, to speak English because you're scared to get something wrong. Well, I'm here to tell you,
Uh-huh.
we get it wrong all the time. Like I'm sure CJ probably arrived and was listening to us, and he was like, "Their English is horrible."
Not really. Like, that's one of the culture shock that I had here in the United States. Like, I was really amazed. I was really amazed on how, you speak, because like in the like it's a new environment. Like, all people are speaking in English, and they are all native speakers. So I also had that feeling that I don't want to speak. Like, I just be silent all 8 hours in the office, because I don't want to commit mistakes with my grammar or something like that. But I just realized, like, after like 6 months, I realized that no, I need to speak. I need to just practice my English, just express myself. Don't be afraid speaking in English.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you and your wife practiced together before you came. That's one of the biggest tips I have for families is use that. Use the fact that you have a family that's immigrating with you and you're all going to need to know how to speak. Everyone's going to need to know how to speak. So, how has I can tell you're moving now, so your wife
Uh-huh.
is being
Oh,
this
yeah.
your
Oh,
wife is
yeah.
your cab driver. Um
Uh-huh.
how has her experience been working as a nurse in the United States versus working as a nurse? You said she was in Oman and she was probably one in the Philippines as well.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah,
Um,
correct.
how was what does she say is better about working in the US versus where she was?
Okay, with that experience, I'll say, but just a bit about of her past experience. She worked as a nurse in the Philippines for 2 years, and 10 years in the Middle
Mhm.
East. So there's really a big difference when it comes to working, like, culture, people, and also limitations in from the place that she worked, or gathered her experience, because Middle East, that's a Muslim country, and
Mhm.
there are limits and things that you need to avoid when working with the Muslim people,
Mhm.
um, and unlike here in the United States, it's totally like free. It's like total freedom compared to,
Mhm.
I'm comparing this to the Middle East.
Mhm.
It's really different. It's really
Yes.
different. And also, she worked like 5 years as a head nurse or a charge nurse in her facility in the Middle East. And so she managed people.
Mhm.
And also, she had her experience was like different in a way that she lived in the south of Oman,
Mhm.
where near the boundary of Yemen, where
Mhm.
they have like incident that have cases of gunshots, head injuries, and also car accidents, because they have this winding road. It's really like the worst
Mhm.
road that I had been to. Like, it's really, like, you'll feel dizzy for 3 hours
Oh,
for
that's not for
yeah,
me.
uh-huh, for 3 hours. So, and also they have like this ambulance routine, that every time that they have emergency, they need to drive to the city like three
Mhm.
hours away.
Oh,
And
wow.
3 hours away in a winding road with the ambulance going full speed. That's the worst. I mean,
I would have
yeah.
thrown up. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
made it. I'd have been like,
yeah.
just push me off the side of the cliff. I'm
Oh,
done. I
yeah.
can't do this
Yeah,
anymore.
and yeah, correct. She always told me, like, after she had, the ambulance calling, she's always dizzy when she arrived from that duty. She's always had a headache, you know. And the thing is, you'll go to the city for 3 hours, and you will go back right away.
Hmm.
So it's like, a 6 hour drive of feel dizzy.
Oof. Oh,
Yeah.
now we do still have like remote places in the United States. Like obviously there are some places in the US. One of my best friends, her parents live somewhere that the closest hospital to them is an hour, and they live kind of in the mountains. So we do have places like that in the United States, but I don't. That's
Mm.
maybe totally just as it is. It's still very, very different than I'm sure what she
Uh-huh.
experienced.
Oh yeah.
Has she seen a big difference in, like,
Uh-huh.
let's say, nurse to patient ratio or hours? Is there a big difference in those expectations?
Okay. Oh, for the hours in Oman, I think she only worked like 8 hours a day. But
Mm-hmm.
here in the United States, she's working 12 hours, which is the standard working hours as a nurse here in the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. And for all of the nurses out there that have processing here in the U.S., it's not 8 hours; it's 12 hours per shift. That's the
And how
standard.
many days a week do you work a 12-hour shift?
She's working three, like, standard is 3 days a week,
Okay.
but you can always pick up shifts like overtime. It's like free. I mean, it's not free. You can overtime anytime you want, because it's um shortage of nurses.
Yeah, there's such a
Uh-huh.
need for it.
Yeah,
I'm sure
for
that was a
real.
big difference for her too. I mean, there's
Uh-huh.
a big difference between working 8 hours and 12 hours. But did she used to work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day?
Oh, oh yeah, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. And
So now
also,
it's 3 days a week, 12 hours a day.
yeah, 3 days a week, 12 hours a day. But uh, there are times that she will go extra work. Like,
Hmm.
she does 4 times a week and sometimes 5 times a week, but not all the time.
Yeah, I think there's like a limit as to how many, kind of shifts you can have, and you can have those 12 hours. I know they monitor that, to make sure
Oh,
you're not overworked because you have to be ready to go as a
uh-huh,
nurse.
correct,
Like you got
correct.
to be.
But yeah, but I think in her facility it's not. They allow until, I mean, 6 days.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, she's not in as high stress a facility
Uh-huh.
like versus like an emergency room, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Well, yeah, when it comes to her experience here in the United States, she is working in a rehab hospital where
Hmm.
the patients uh, are like were suffered from stroke, from fractures that have undergone surgery, and, for example, spinal problems, something like that, that they'll need rehab therapy to go
Hmm.
back to their normal function.
Hmm.
So that's where she's working right now. And as a nurse in her facility right now, they're just focusing on patient care, like giving meds,
Hmm.
like wound dressing, giving IV fluids, IV antibiotics,
Hmm.
and yeah, those stuff, like pretty much basic. And it's all she told me that they're all like always busy. Not always. There are times that it's busy, like eight
Hmm.
to ten patients per staff. That's the nurse to
Okay.
patient ratio. 8 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's good information.
that yeah, that 8 to 10 patients right now is like that. That's already calmed down, because when she started,
Hmm.
um, because of a shortage of nurse, we were here 2022, so it's just like the COVID was still fresh.
Hmm.
During the first 8 months, there are days that she'll have 13 patients,
Okay.
like
Okay.
every day, and she was still on training those
Hmm.
times, so she was so stressed. But
Hmm.
um, that's how it goes. And she told me, it's it's a work. This is my work. This is like this. Like, I'm still on training. She told
Hmm.
me this will be a routine, so I
Hmm.
won't. Yeah, I won't. I won't be stressed out.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
her
awesome.
mentality. Yeah, she's really strong when it comes to that.
That is awesome.
Hmm.
So I have really just two more questions for you. My first, of course, because we all know I am a dog person. I know you have a dog,
Hmm.
a Malamute,
Yeah,
correct?
correct.
Did you immigrate with your Malamute or did you buy your Malamute when you got here?
We bought the Malamute here in the United States. So, like true story, last year we got blessed and we moved into our new house.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved from Rock Hill into Charlotte, and we also decided to get a dog, and that's Gucci, our Alaskan Malamute. So
Sweet.
we move into the new house with our new dog. That's like that's
It's the
it's really a
dream.
blessing. Yeah, it's a
That's
dream.
awesome.
It's really a dream.
That is, we know I'm a big dog person. I love dogs. And so I have the husky and you have the Malamute, which yours sheds even more than mine does, which
Oh yeah,
constant,
every
constant.
day I need to pick up hair.
Yeah, it's constant. But having a dog as a pet in the United States is very common, correct?
Yeah, it's very common. It's like a part of the family.
It
You know.
is.
Yeah,
It
correct.
is. They can be veterinary care is something you do have to budget for because
Oh yeah,
vets are not cheap.
yeah.
Um, so tell me this. We'll end on some fun questions. So my first one is, what has become your favorite food to eat in America? What is your go-to American food?
Go to American food subs like those big sandwiches. Yeah, we don't have those in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
So we have like the normal sandwich like burgers in the
Mm-hmm.
Philippines, but subs, yeah, that's my favorite here in the United States, and also Chipotle. Yeah.
Chipotle is good. I'm not, but you and I are speaking to sub sandwiches are when I was in college, I lived on
Hmm.
sub sandwiches. You're right. I didn't see any like big sandwiches or even like anything to make a big sandwich when I was in the Philippines.
Yeah, that's correct. And
I didn't think
also
about that.
the the serving for those subs is not like it's
Huge.
too much. Yeah, it's huge for a Filipino. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
it's good.
big.
Yeah, good for two persons, but you
It
need
is.
to eat that. Yeah,
It is.
yeah. That's
Have
why
you
I gained.
been
Uh-huh.
have you been to Publix? Have you had a Publix sub?
Public sub, not yet. Not yet.
They're the best. All right, CJ, I'm going to bring you a Publix sub next time I'm in the office. I'm going to ask you your order. They are the best. Publix subs are the best. So what is the food that you miss the most from home?
Um, I'll say sweets like we call it like biko in the Philippines.
Mhm,
Sweets are like desserts because
mhm.
I don't really miss Filipino food because my wife is a good cook. She's
Oh.
always she's always she's always cooking dinner for me because she's working graveyard, so she's working. I mean, she's sleeping during like breakfast and lunchtime, so we
Mhm,
always have that. We told ourselves that we need to eat together
mhm,
during dinner before driving her to work. So that's our routine. So she's
mhm,
always cooking Filipino food for me, and that's my favorite thing in like every day to be to eat food, and I love eating, to be honest. You know,
me too.
and yeah, and you won't have any problems. I mean, here in the United States, when it comes to the groceries, for example, us Asians, we have a lot of Asian stores. So if you
Mhm,
are scared that you might not get the food that you're used to eating here in the
mhm.
United States, no, there are a lot of groceries and restaurants that you'll eat all the things that you will crave for.
Is it true that if you go to even like an Asian restaurant in the United States, that the serving sizes are much bigger than what you would get in an Asian country?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's always good for 2 to 3 persons. Yeah,
You say that,
that's
but I went when I was in the Philippines. They brought out where I went to Buddies in the
uh huh.
Philippines in Manila, and it was huge. Their portions were huge, but I think they were supposed to be like family style
Yeah, that's
portions.
family. Yeah, family style portion. Like per order, it's like
Uh huh.
per that's good 2 to 3 people like persons. Like
Yeah.
if you will get like the budget meal, something like we call it like that, it's just good,
Mm-hmm.
like enough for one person.
Awesome. Awesome. So what is if we could ask that you give one tip to nurses and spouses who are immigrating to the United States, what is one piece of advice that you would give them?
I'll say, um, start now. If you are planning, if you're watching right now and you're like, should I go to the United States? Should I be with Worldwide Health Staff to go to the United States? Start now. Click that apply button. You know, the journey will might uh, it will take long. It's not because of the retrogression right now, but it will be it will be awesome. It's worth the wait, for real. And just to remind you about the for example the savings I told you a while ago,
Mhm.
if you will earn like this much money for 2 years in the Middle East, you'll just earn that like 2 to 4 months here in the United States. Just think about that. So start your journey now. Process all the papers that you need. Take your NCLEX. Don't hesitate. Start it
Mhm.
now. Like, yeah. And as per Ron, the process works. He always
Yeah.
tell that in the webinar. The process works, and we are a
Mhm.
living, testimonial. I'm speaking in front of you right now, and as a spouse of a worldwide nurse, it's our process is effective, you know, and we are now living in our, ultimate dream. We got a house here in the United States. We got our dream car, and we are living, with a dog, and we are so happy. We are. It's really a dream. So just start your journey now.
I
Start your
love
journey
that.
now.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Well, CJ, thank you so much for taking time to share your story. Thank you to your wife for getting her driver's license so that you were able to participate in this webinar today and not have to
Oh
drive
yeah.
and do the webinar. Shout
Yeah, we
out to
just
your
we,
wife.
we, we we just arrived
Congratulations.
at home. Yeah, look at this.
Perfect.
I wore my seatbelt. Safety and security in the United States. You know.
That's right. And we did. We told CJ, he was like, I better put my seatbelt on. It is a law in the United States. That is a law. But thank you so, so, so much, CJ, for being on today. Thank you to your wife for the amazing work that she does. Thank you to you for the amazing work that you do for our marketing team. I know that Tracy is so happy to have you on the team. I know I'm super happy, of course, to have you on the team. But thank you for sharing your journey and telling the nurses out there, apply now, get started now, and it's worth it. It's completely and
Mm,
totally worth it. And you are, like you said, you're a testimonial to that. And that is truly, truly, truly awesome. So
mhm.
we thank you. Thank you to all of our nurses out there who were able to tune in today. We have actually reached like our optimal time limit for the show. So we are so thankful. If you have questions for CJ, you are welcome to email them to me and I will forward them over to CJ. If you have more questions about his journey as a spouse of a nurse, or if you just, I saw some really great compliments in there about your English skills, CJ, of course. So you too can have great English skills if you practice before your arrival. But thank you. Thank you, CJ. Thank you to all of our nurses out there. Thank you to Tracy, who's been running the chat for us. And just don't face the corner, face the world with Worldwide. And we will see you next week. Have a great week, everyone.